aqua resilience. I really like that. I saw that term somewhere. And I thought aqua resilience. That is an absolutely perfect metaphor for how aquaponics can help us, for those of us with PTSD, to work through our PTSD. Here's the thing. I have PTSD. I've had it all my life, and I always thought that meant that I had to be totally dysfunctional. That I couldn't do anything. Because that's what you see in the movies. That's what you see. You always see extreme cases, but what we don't see very often, well, maybe I'm living in a closed life now, but what we don't see as often is that people can have PTSD and still live their life. They can still be functional. They've still got this issue, and it will always impact everything else, but you can still live a life being mindful of this and working with this. Just saying, I didn't think that was possible, but it is actually possible. And it is possible, if you put the work in, to work through this trauma, no matter what it is. And as someone who has experienced various trauma in many different ways for a very, very long time, it is possible. But you have to find what works for you. And for me, aquaponics is actually what helped me the most with my PTSD. And every time I feel myself brushing up against those triggers, I go, I need to go and hang out in my aquaponics system. I need to go and do something. I need to build another one. People wonder why I'm always building aquaponics systems. It's because this is a form of therapy for me. And using my hands and doing stuff, that's what works for me to calm me down. But when we take a step back and we think about what are some of the key issues within PTSD? Everything is unpredictable. What's going to happen next? That's the whole anxiety of what's going to happen. And we're always on edge. It sucks. Okay. There's no other way of putting it. It stinks. It's horrid. And looking at an aquaponic system, you're probably going, yeah, great, Candy, it's growing food. It is. It is growing food. And that's a very predictable thing, isn't it? I'm growing food. My aquaponic system is, the fish are constantly, eating when I feed them every day. They are constantly producing a liquid waste called ammonia that is constantly being converted by the nitrifying bacteria within the grow bed in this little system, converted into a form of fertilizer that my plants can grow. This is all very consistent. The water is then being filtered by that bacteria and by the plants and going back into the fish tank. That is a very consistent cycle of what's happening. Hear that? Something's consistent. Something is consistent. Now, the minute you go from a small system like this to a bigger system, or even in a small system, if you don't understand how it works, it's going to be inconsistent. And until you learn how it works, it will be inconsistent. But everything in life is a learned skill. You learn how to walk, you learn how to talk, how to read, write, whatever everything we do, we have to learn. How to use chopsticks or a fork or... Oh, excuse me, sorry about that. Everything we do is learned. So you can learn how to build and how to look after an aquaponic system. And when you start small, here's the thing, people jump straight in and they go big, and it's problems. Now, if you're someone who has mental health issues, anxiety, and PTSD is a form of anxiety, it is going to be stressful. But, building a small system like this, you can look at this and go, it's easier to manage. I might not get as much food out of it, but sometimes what we're trying to do with food, or we're trying to grow our garden, have a veggie garden, sometimes we're trying to actually help ourselves recover and heal more than we're trying to get the healthy food. If you look at your small aquaponic system and go, I want to learn how to have balance, and I just want to learn how to reconnect with myself, and I just want to learn that this can be okay, that everything's going to be okay. Starting small is one of the best ways of building your confidence within aquaponics, and it's also one of the best ways of helping you to feel more comfortable about trying something new and seeing a stable thing happen. Seriously, when I come out here, especially when my symptoms are flared up, and I go, oh my God, it's working. It's doing what it needs to do. I've got this. I can do this. And then for instance, I come out this morning and I go, now look at how strong that tomato plant is. It's got it. And I think, what can I do about my life? One thing that I can do in my life to make me feel the same way that I just did about that tomato plant. The fact that this system has constant water and constant fertilizer, and I do need to clean it, I do need to maintain it, we need to look after the balance of it, so you need to learn about aquaponics. It is a lot easier to run a small aquaponic system than it is to use a soil garden. There's a lot more hard work involved and balancing everything out. You have to remember to water, you have to remember to fertilise, and you have to add soil and compost and get everything happening. You don't have to do that within aquaponics. As someone with PTSD, I keep forgetting about my soil garden, my weeping beds. I keep forgetting to water them. It's constantly watered. I never forget to feed my fish. I have my routine for that, but the watering aspects, we had a huge storm yesterday. I don't need to water. Probably won't need to water for a week. But I'll forget about it by tomorrow. Okay? Having this just helps me to go, I've got this, and it reminds me of something stable within life. It's strong. It's got supports and it works. How can I replicate that within my life? And that is how aquaponics can help me look at my life as a form of garden therapy. So how can it help you? Let me know. Shoot me an email and let me know.